So were any findings contrary to international experience? Brett or Georgios, any?
I don't think so, Kathy. A lot of the research was done internationally, so it
Yeah.
forms the body of international experience. As I said, there was a mixed bag. Some of those findings were maybe against one's intuition, but I think also involved, for example, small numbers. There was a study in ICU which didn't show findings in terms of the benefits of mechanical ventilation, but I think ICU patients are an entirely different cohort when you compare it to the general ward population in hospitals, because they might actually be at the end or post their infectious period, and the other controls that are in place for managing transmission are very different in the ICU setting. So I wasn't particularly surprised by anything, but I think other lay readers or science readers might look at some of the findings and say, oh, look, that goes a little bit against what I might have expected in this space.
No, I think I'd agree with you there. Another quick question is there a highest recommended level for indoor CO2?
I don't think so. We made the point about recommendations not being part of this study, but a review of international regulatory and legislative schema I think might be useful, and it's probably the case that 800 or 1,000 ppm comes up more commonly than not in terms of a threshold where you tend to tip from lower risk to higher risk of viral transmission. But there might be different thresholds for particulate matter, and there might be different thresholds with different phases of seasonal risk or pandemic risk. So I think it's very context dependent, and it does depend on what the built environment looks like at the same time, and what activities take place, and the number of people within a setting. I think there could be a trap in saying one size fits all for a ppm for CO2.
Yeah, and look, we're getting to the end of the time that's available, but I have to say, Paul has suggested that maybe we should have pathogen sniffers identifying people with airborne infectious diseases such as dogs, or mechanicalistically doing that. So I think that's something. I don't know if you is a quick yes, interesting, or it's I think we do know dogs are very good at sniffing out things. It's biomimicry.
Interesting, probably not going to roll out in every hospitality venue, I suspect.
Well, that's and then there's a final quick question is